Hello and good morning to Dr. Manjit and my fellow friends. My name is Shafiqah binti Ahmad and my matrix number is 154298, and I was given topic 5 for presentation today, and my title for the presentation is the R vocalization for New Yorkers. So first of all, I will tell you a little bit about the content of my presentation. The first one is the definition of style. The second one is the use of vocal R for New Yorkers. And the third one is the example on variation of R vocalization. So the definition is taken from Barrett in 1998. So Barrett said that style is a set of linguistic variables that are characteristics of a given dialect, register, or genre. And in a simpler words, style is the way we are using our language, and it is based on the setting as well as the context. And the most basic distinction when we are trying to differentiate a language style is when it is used whether in formal or informal settings. And this definition is in line with Labov, what Labov have come out with in 1972. Labov claimed that the language style varies based on the amount of attention paid to the speech itself. So Labov is trying to say that the more we pay attention, the more speaker paid attention to the speech, the more likely for the language style to be formal, and the more likely for the speaker to have a to give a powerful R vocalization in their speech. Next, I will explain on the use of vocal R for New Yorkers based on a certain context. And this graph is actually taken from Labov's study. He did a study evaluate the R pronunciation for New Yorkers in 1966. And based on this study, we can see that in the graph, we can see that at casual speech, the R index scores is very low, and for the minimal pairs part, the R index scores is very high. And at casual speech part, it's actually low because at this part, usually when we are when we are talking casually, we don't really care about the our vocalization. We don't really care about we don't really pay attention to the way we speak. So it is normal when we don't pay attention, we don't know uh, we don't really pronounce a vocal R properly. But at the careful speech part, the R index scores is slightly higher because at this part, um, speakers usually pay attention to what they are saying. Let's say, let's say the speakers are trying to give a presentation or public speaking, then the speaker usually practice or try to say beforehand, and in order to not saying the wrong words. So it is likely that when the speakers pay attention, so they pronounce the vocal R properly at this part. And for reading part, usually it's almost the same as the casual speech part because the speakers usually don't really pay attention to the pronunciation. And usually when we are reading, the sentences are very long, and we don't really have time to care about the pronunciation and vocal R. And the R index score is higher at word list part and minimal pairs part. At word list part, it is high because usually word lists are very short, and it is hard for the speakers to ignore about the pronunciation when the words is very short. And usually when we are listing word, we try to um, pronounce it properly. with the right pronunciation. And for at minimal pairs part, it is the index scores is very high because at this part usually the speakers focus more, because minimal pairs is actually a test where speakers are given words where they have to pronounce the words properly, and usually the words given are very similar but slightly different. For example, I will give lock and rock. So the only difference between these two words are the alphabet L and the alphabet R. So when I say rock, it's very the pronunciation of vocal R is very powerful because I want to differentiate between alphabet L and alphabet R. So the use of vocal R varies for each participant based on how aware they are or how much they pay attention to their speech and pronunciation. So based on these studies done by Labov, uh, um, it is it is proven that the more we pay attention to our speech and pronunciation, the more likely for us to pronounce a vocal R powerfully. So I will move on to the example on variation of R vocalization. In order to vary between R vocalization, it can be vary into two categories, which is rhotic and non-rhotic. Rhotic pronunciation is when we are pronouncing words with the um, with the sound R in it, but non-rhotic is when the R sounds is not there. So I will try to pronounce these examples. Um, I will try my best. For rhotic, the first one is farmer, and for non-rhotic, it is farmer. The second one is lord, and for non-rhotic, it is lad. For the third one is card, and for non-rhotic, it is card. And if you think that I did not I did a bad job at pronouncing these words, you can try it on your own. But basically, rhotic is when you pronounce it with the R sounds in it, and non-rhotic is when there is no R sound in the words. And if you have not realized it, actually, rhotic pronunciation is associated with American accent, while non-rhotic is associated with um, United Kingdom accents. I think that's all from me. This is my references. Thank you so much for listening.